Good afternoon, and welcome to the first segment of what our team has titled The Road to Reopening FLB Schools. The purpose of today's session will be to follow up on our initial reopening letter that was sent out to our parents on Monday, June 22nd. Following today's segment, we will plan to reach out to our families in future installments to provide additional updates as we draw closer to the start of the 2020-21 school year. My name is Rick Emmerich, superintendent here at the Fort LaBeouf School District. Alongside me today is our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Sean Wolfram. As mentioned in our initial letter to families, our team here at FLB has relied exclusively on guidance provided to us by the state and federal health officials in preparing our plan for our students to be back to us on August 25th, 2020. As we open our doors in the fall, we can confidently state that our district is taking every measure feasible to ensure the safety and well-being of our students, faculty, and staff. This is and will always be our top priority. Along with taking every effort to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, our team here at the district must also get back to what we do best, building connections with our families and providing a top-notch education of which our students and our Bison families will be proud. Our objective today is to cover three main areas to assist our families in making an informed decision when enrolling their child for the fall. First, we will provide details related to the traditional school day pathway and the newly developed FLB Cyber Academy pathway. Secondly, we'll hit on some common question areas that were brought about by parents through our online question form. Finally, we will share the instructions for completing the online enrollment survey that will be released early next week. To talk about what the traditional school day pathway will look like in the fall and the options that are available to our families, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Sean Wolfram.
Thank you, Mr. Emmerich. As Mr. Emmerich said, our first option is that traditional option where kids will come back to and be in our brick and mortar schools. Our goal is to have kids back with us every day. We've worked really hard to try and avoid any kind of staggered schedule, such as an A-B, where kids may come every other day or come for every other week type approach. At this point, we are working as hard as we can to avoid that kind of schedule because we know the kind of stress that puts on families as far as daycare and those sorts of things. So again, our initial plan is to open our brick and mortar schools for those who want to come back and be here with us and have the students here every day just as they were prior to March 13th. Now, obviously, things are going to look a lot different than they did prior to March 13th. We're going to have things such as hand sanitizing stations, temperature scans, physical distancing, masks, all those things will go into detail as we go through our presentation. But again, things will look much different for the kids who do come back to our brick and mortar buildings. Other things that will be adjusted, such as field trips. Unfortunately, we won't be taking any field trips as we start the school year. Again, we want to keep our kids here and keep them safe. As you can imagine, visitors to our buildings. Only those essential visitors will be allowed into our buildings, and those would be such things as physical therapy, any of those type of things. Other than that, our buildings are not going to allow visitors to come in. Now to Mr. Emmerich, he's going to tell you a little bit about the cyber pathway.
Thank you, Dr. Wolfram. While some of our students and parents may be comfortable as well as excited with returning to the traditional school pathway, as Dr. Wolfram mentioned, many families may choose the FLB Cyber Academy pathway. As we have discovered along the way, personal preference or the potential risk of underlying medical conditions for children or other family members make online learning an appealing option. Again, families choosing the FLB Cyber Academy pathway will enable their children to learn online each and every day. However, it is very important to note that our new academy will be very different from how our district approached the online teaching during the spring closure period. Students will not be expected to attend school in person, but rather all their classes will take place remotely through live as well as pre-recorded sessions. Google Classroom, with some enhanced options, will be our platform, and students choosing to enroll in the academy will be instructed by an FLB certified teacher with access to all FLB extracurricular activities. In addition, each academy student will be issued a Chromebook as well as a hotspot, much like our district offered during the mandated school closure period. At the elementary level, grades K through 5 will have online classrooms with a teacher who is dedicated to working and instructing that particular group of students. At the secondary level, grades 6 to 12, various high school and middle school content area teachers will have online classes that will be embedded into their daily schedules. We are extremely proud of the work that has and will continue to be done as we get the new FLB Cyber Academy up and running here at Fort LaBeouf. For the fall of 2020 and for years to come, we are confident that the Academy will be the preferred choice for FLB residents who wish to pursue a tuition-free online public school education option for their children. Regardless of pathway chosen by our students, grading and attendance is important to our district as well as our families. Students will be required to complete online work, and evaluation of such work will be handled as it was before the mandated school closure. Our parents can expect here from our teachers the same rigor and academic accountability that are cornerstones for our school district. In terms of daily attendance under both pathways, it will be expected. However, we do understand that as the pandemic continues, certain situations could arise where our families may require additional consideration. In such cases, families will be encouraged to communicate with their child's teachers as well as their building principals to discuss special circumstances. Talk about a little bit about health and safety. I'd like to turn it back over to Dr. Wolf.
Thank you, Mr. Emmerich. As Mr. Emmerich stated in the opening, your students' health and safety is our top priority. And so this part of our plan, the health and safety plan, is crucial. And we're going to need you as parents to really partner with us to help ensure that everybody stays safe and that we mitigate the spread of COVID-19 throughout our community. So what does that mean for you? We're asking you each day before you send your child to school, screen them. We'll actually be sending out a checklist that you can use to go through and screen your child each day, which will involve things such as taking their temperature, just looking for those symptoms of COVID-19. And if they have any of those symptoms whatsoever, keep them home. We understand that we're asking folks to stay home probably more than they have in the past regarding when you're not feeling well, and that's okay. Our instructors understand that, our attendance officers understand that, and everyone is going to be flexible and understanding if someone is at home because they're not feeling well. When kids come to school, we also will be scanning everybody that enters the building, either through the thermal scanners or individually taking temperatures of all who enter our buildings, is that first stage of monitoring and screening for any kind of illness. Our nurses, as you can imagine, have been intimately involved in developing our plan. And if anyone is not feeling well throughout the school day, we've actually created separate locations in each of our buildings where they will where that person will go, and they will further evaluate that person to see if they need to be sent home or to see what the situation is so that we can deal with it and keep them separated from the general population. Again, that temperature is so important, and we're asking that you screen your kids before you send them each day. That magic number that everybody knows, 100.4. If your child has a temperature above that, please keep them at home. Contact us. We'll work with you to help you determine whether you should take your child to your doctor, get them tested for COVID, whatever those next steps might be. Our nurses will be glad to assist you with that. Again, the biggest piece of our health and safety plan is going to be you partnering with us and helping us keep your child home if they are not feeling well. And we will deal with them if they are feeling well and get to school and end up not feeling well, then we will be certainly in touch with you to deal with that situation. Mr. Emmerich's going to talk to you now about face masks.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Wolfram. And as we anticipated, face coverings or masks came up quite frequently through our online question form. Again, it's important that we reiterate to our families, faculty, staff, and students will be required to have face masks in their possession when they come into our buildings each day. However, at various times, face coverings may not be necessary. However, certain circumstances where physical distancing could be compromised throughout the school day could arise. In such cases, students and staff will be expected to wear their masks. At the start of the school year, each building will be issuing cloth masks to students and staff members. Homemade masks will also be permissible, and we ask families to adhere to all CDC guidelines when constructing those masks. Dr. Wolf.
Next, we're going to talk about cleaning and sanitizing of our buildings. Obviously, Our custodial staff has already been trained on the procedures to increase the amount of cleaning that takes place each day throughout the day, but also at night after the students leave, to get that deep cleaning each night to make sure that our buildings are sanitized and safe for our students to come back. We also are in the process of ordering the hand sanitizing stations that everyone has become familiar with in all the public places. We will have those stationed in all of our buildings as the kids come in to, again, get into that habit of sanitizing their hands. Also, water fountains. We're working now to order water bottle filling stations to eliminate those water fountains throughout the buildings, which again, students are coming up and touching those. That's a high touch point. We want to eliminate those. So again, we're going to be installing water bottle filling stations and asking that students bring a water bottle with them so they can just simply fill their water bottle and not have to touch a drinking fountain. To Mr. Emmerich for physical distancing.
Thank you, Dr. Wolfram. Physical distancing, as everyone knows in our community, is an important part of preventing the spread of COVID-19. Physical distancing here at Fort LaBeouf, while our students are in attendance, will be enforced, and you will notice increased signage across our district promoting this highly important practice. Class sizes will be smaller. Traffic patterns will also be modified at each building to promote physical distancing. Classroom configurations will also be altered for maximum physical distancing as feasible. For example, staggered rows of desks, all facing the same direction with no face-to-face seating within our classrooms and common areas. Dr. Wolfram.
Let's talk about food service for a second. Obviously, that's going to look a little bit different. Chef has been working hard with all of our buildings to find locations to serve the students breakfast and lunch. Yes, we're going to utilize our cafeterias, but students are going to be spread out to maintain that physical distancing. So that means we're going to have to use other areas such as gymnasiums or auditoriums or other large spaces where we can ensure that the kids are going to be able to maintain that physical distance. They also may be required to eat in some of their classrooms at different times throughout the year. So again, we're going to be as flexible as possible there. The principals have already begun working with Chef to iron out those schedules. We may increase the number of lunch periods that we have each day, but again, the main goal is to maintain that physical distancing while the students are dining. Mr. Emmerich.
Thank you. Transportation is obviously a significant challenge for us. Getting our students to and from school safely is an essential part of getting our schools kicked off each and every day throughout the school year. As of this point today, we are planning for our pickup and drop-off times to be staggered to allow for physical distancing on each one of our school buses. Again, that physical distancing piece is a very challenging part of our plan. But as of today, we're planning for our students to travel one student per seat, and passengers will be required to wear facial covering during their trips to and from school. Bus drivers will also be required to wear face coverings when students enter and exit the bus. For obvious reasons, drivers will not be required to wear masks while operating the bus. Each school bus will be sanitized between each run, and we ask that our families please stay tuned for pickup and drop-off times, as well as building start and dismissal schedules, as they will be shared with our families as we draw closer to the start of the school year.
Finally, we need to know what you're thinking as far as the pathway you'd like to choose for your children. So early next week, we'll be sending out a survey. You can be looking for that link through text message and email that will allow you to enroll each of your children in whichever pathway that you choose. Again, we know that you're going to choose one of the Fort LaBeouf pathways here. We just need to know whether that's going to be the brick and mortar option or that cyber option. The other important thing to remember as far as the survey is that you need to complete it once for each child. So for example, if you have 3 children, please make sure that you complete that survey 3 times so that we get all the relevant information that we need to make decisions. One of the biggest questions we've probably received is, as Mr. Emmerich talked about, is the staggered schedules and what are the times as far as pickup, drop off, the school day, what that's going to look like. We need to know what your choice is going to be so we can determine what those times are going to be and get that information to you. So please, it's crucial that you complete that survey as quickly as you can so that we can then begin to analyze, determine how many bus runs we're going to need to make, and alter schedules if needed. Mr. Owen.
As we wrap up today's session, parents interested in reviewing the complete FLB preliminary reopening plan can do so on our district website, and we encourage our families to continue to submit questions that they may have along the way through our FLB School Community COVID-19 question form. Dr. Wolfram and I have spent the past couple of days reaching out to families who have shared some of those questions. We hope that those conversations have been fruitful, and throughout the entire process and the balance of the summer, we intend to continue to keep those lines of communication open to help our parents feel reassured about returning their children to our schools here in the fall. Thank you for watching this first installment of the Road to Reopening FLB Schools. On behalf of myself, Dr. Wolfram, and the entire team here at FLB, we wish our families an enjoyable and relaxing summer. Thank you.